So, I mean, I'm almost hearing you talk, and it's interesting to hear some of the things you were saying. What popped in my head was almost, I wonder if there ever has been, and if not, I challenge there to be a firm, like an architectural firm, to take a stab at redesigning our country in terms of living space and give everyone space, but also reserve natural space between dwellings, and taking our current population and just spreading it out. Because right now we have vast areas of wilderness, but spreading it out with the infrastructure so you're not sticking people in the middle of a desert with nothing. But what would it look like with roads and water and electricity and the things that we all need, but spread out more evenly?
You mean Toulouse? It's like episode like 35 of the pod.
No.
You want to check that out, everyone? Go back. Episode. It's the city of the future. It's just bring back there.
I got my reservations about that one. But no, I'm just curious if anyone's ever, like you had shared the infographic, and we did a pod episode on it about the was it like was it high-speed rail? What a high-speed rail network would look like across the country.
Yeah.
And so something similar.
They got the funding for it. I mean, I don't know when that's going to come to fruition, but yeah, something like that would be helpful already.
But seeing, you take the cities and you break them down, like, as if we had a magic wand. If you started with a blank slate, a pristine country, untouched by man, how would you build on top of it to accommodate 300 million people?
I mean,
I'm just curious.
I'm not an architect, but I mean, I bet you if we looked out there, there's someone who's had some interesting concept art, or a firm that does concept art. I mean, it's the legality that is entrenched in the system to make sure that nothing changes that holds these things back. Because I mean, look, we could take our area, for instance, and I've always thought about this. New York City is a crap city, and it's the thing is it's barely a city compared to like ancient cities like Istanbul or something, because I think they've got, New York's got like 8 million people. I think Istanbul has like, it's something ridiculous. You look it up, it's like 25 million or something like that. It's absurd, and they make it work. But we could do mega cities. We do sci-fi with mega cities. It's just that, how do you do a mega city when New York has its rights, New Jersey has its rights, Connecticut's got rights? Because the thing is, you need to, the city would need to cross the Hudson. It would need to envelop Jersey City, Hoboken. It would need to envelop many of the places that are not owned by New York State in order to become a true city of the future, in order to do this fanciful, embracing nature, having people spread out so that they're not so you're not spreading disease, you're not on top of one another, making people actually feel like human beings.
I don't see the difference, though. I mean, because in this area, it's not like in other parts of the country or other parts of the world where you're traveling from town to town, but in between those population centers is vast wilderness. Here it is, town after town, shoulder to shoulder. You can't go anywhere without always being in a populated area.
Yes, but those areas operate autonomously. That's a big difference.
So what's the difference?
That's a massive
difference. Plan out
difference.
the infrastructure.
Yeah, but you can't do that because you cannot override each town's independence.
It would be a collaboration. I mean, listen,
That's
I'm not
my point.
A huge proponent of states' rights. They get in the way of a lot of things, but I think that you could just have a collaboration to say, like, this is what it'll look like.
Yeah, you say it like it's the easiest thing in the world, but it's never.
It's probably easier than dismantling states' rights.
We tried to do. Do you remember back in the early?
We're still trying to do the tunnel.
Not the tunnel, the walkway over the Hudson.
I never heard about that. I heard about the tunnel.
No, the walkway for bikes and pedestrians to be able to walk over the Hudson from Jersey to New York.
Is that, who wants to do that? Is that a thing?
That was a thing. That was a thing back in the day. Yeah. Back under Bloomberg, I think, actually, like first term Bloomberg.
How long of a walk is that?
It's not that long.
Like that people would do like normally as a commute?
Well, you would bike. You could bike. You'd be able to bike from one side to the other.
I mean, I don't know what the return is on that. I don't know how many people would do that. I feel like there would be like not a lot of traffic.
I disagree, but all right.
I mean, is it going to be like sheltered? I mean,
can't get it done. And I know you were talking about the tunnel, which is what for cars, more cars.
You do whatever you want. You put whatever you want in the tunnel. The tunnels we have now are terrible. They do not fit the capacity
Yeah, not at all.
It's just they're terrible. There's
Yeah.
always hours wait. It's just stupid. So
Yeah,
I'm in favor
because
of
it's a
advancing
river and not an
anything.
ocean, and
Dude, you
has
don't want to
limited
do cars,
space.
but walking across a river to go to work, like that's not going to happen. And people aren't
People
going to want
walk
to.
across the Brooklyn Bridge to go to work. It's the same thing. Tons of people walk across the Brooklyn. You have millions of people walking across the Brooklyn Bridge to go to work every day,
All year.
all year. Oh yeah, all year. Absolutely.
Mm.
Just saying.
It's hard for me to argue.
It exists.
I mean, I've been on
it
the Brooklyn
exists.
Bridge. I feel like the feel I got wasn't like a mass of commuters, but I could be wrong.
I mean, most people bike. It's not people walk, but people bike all year round. So I mean, you be connecting areas that
You think that was going to replace the tunnel and bridge traffic?
I don't think
automotive?
it's good. I don't know if it's going to replace it because of how far people might be coming in order to drive into the city. But it'll.
I mean, I'm not opposed to it. I just don't feel like that's the priority one fix for commuting. I feel like you need to redo the tunnels. You need to probably add more automotive things, whether it's mass transit or individual cars. I just feel like, yeah, the pedestrian bridge sounds nice, but that's not where you're going to get the most bang for your buck.
I mean, it's always a train issue. You know, we need to completely overhaul the way in which trains are implemented in this country. But
interesting.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. All right.
Anyway,
well, anyway, I mean, mega cities. I mean, when I think of mega cities, it's scary because I think of like Judge Dredd type mega cities where they're walled off from the environment and it's just like a cesspool inside. But you're saying no, it's going to be planned so nature has its equal place in there, and that's why it needs to be so expansive.
Yeah. Well,
but then it's just like just redesign the states.
Yeah.
Like,
well, you know, I mean, look,
mega city, just make this redesign. That's my point. Just redesign the whole country at that point. Like, because then only the city's cool, but everywhere else is terrible.
In parts, and again, it's all about funding and people getting. You know, it's as much as we would love it. You know,
is it like rings on a trees where you start with the city and then year after year
it's a matter of
build another ring and another ring until you just have rings going across the country?
It's something like that. Because you know, the thing is, it's not like we're the only nation with this problem. You know, if you look at Paris has been doing that for the better part of probably 20 years. If you look at the arrondissements in Paris, I mean, they've been expanding steadily every other, you know, I don't want to say it's like every decade or so, but it's been something like that. They've been expanding out and encompassing the wider parts of the air, what was like the suburbs or the countryside, getting that into actual Paris and stretching out the public transport to getting people to be able to make it from one area to the other briskly in a timely fashion, and they're trying to build like a newer version of what a city can be. A lot of that includes bike lanes and walking paths that Paris has been investing in heavily. But again, so is New York, but just in the confines of the city to a degree, not even as much as they should be, but that's the thing. It's like you can only control what is yours. It's very difficult to break out and work across state lines, much less party lines, to get some of this stuff done. And that's the other thing. The federal government can't come in and say, oh, New York, New Jersey, we're going to fund this project for you, because then Texas is going to be like, well, what about us? Or Utah is going to be like, well, what are we getting out of this? And Nevada, you know, all these states are going to be like, we want money to do probably not this, but probably something else. They're like, we need to kill more wolves. We need money for that. So I mean, it's sort of like they're not going to say kumbaya to the elite East Coast getting more money to make mega cities, basically connecting Boston to New York and making it just two massive hubs. Everything else just gets destroyed in between. You know, they're not going to help us do that. Even though that would be better for the environment and work out better for the majority of people on like at least on the East Coast per se, at least the Northeast.